brain drip shit, you know.
Hey YouTube, it's your host Taya J, and I am back with another episode on TheGlow Talk. And on today's episode, we have a very special guest. He is a real estate insurance firm and clothing entrepreneur by the name of Mark. Hello, Mark. How are you doing today?
How you doing? I'm doing well.
That's good. That's good. So, for the people who do not know who you are or what you do, can you give us a little insight on those things?
Yes, ma'am. Well, my name's Brother Mark Muhammad Jr. I am a real estate owner. I run an insurance firm also, and I'm pretty much just an entrepreneur. I have my own clothing line as well. Along with that, I also help develop young men into businessmen, or maybe
Mm,
just spiritually train them, physically train them, financially train them as well, inside the community with the Nation of Islam and a few other
mm,
local organizing committees as well.
mhm.
So that's pretty much just what I do, outside of my personal life. But that's just about it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Speaking of real estate, what made you get into real estate and how did you get into that field?
Well, initially, what really got my mind on it was that my great grandfather actually he used to own a lot of businesses back in the
Okay.
60s and 70s and so forth, and he
Hmm.
had he had apartment complexes. Um, he actually has the longest black owned gas station in the history of America, 35
Oh,
years.
wow.
Yeah, I know. So like, once my father kind of like broke down the family history to me when I was like
Hmm.
17, 18,
Hmm.
I was just like, okay, that's something like I needed to hear because when I was a little boy, I used to always think about owning stuff,
Hmm.
about that. I just didn't know that it was really just in my bloodline.
Right.
Um, so my grandfather owns stuff. My father owns a barbershop, and he's starting to get into real estate. So I said to myself,
Hmm.
you know, one way to make your community a decent and better place to live is to take the initiative to getting those cheap houses or just houses in the hood or really anywhere and fix them
Hmm.
up. You raise the value up, you raise the property value up in that neighborhood, then you're able to sell it to your own people for a decent price. Or if you want to
Hmm.
just get into the business, rent it out, build your portfolio so you'll have that residual income, which is what I decided to do initially. So I
Hmm.
have more time to I won't have to work uh a 9 to 5 or a white man's job or go work for somebody else.
Right.
I have residual income coming in. So I will be more free to, which is my primary focus, is to redevelop, re-educate black men and women, particularly black men. So that was one of the
Wow.
that's pretty much the main reasons why I jumped on that. And on top of that, when you say it though, to younger men, 20 years old, it sounds good to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Even if you just got one or two properties.
Hmm.
Um, so outside of the passion, outside of the money, those were the reasons. The main reason was so I could have an extra income coming in.
Hmm.
Um, so it will also free me up to go do other things as well, time wise.
Mm. Okay, that's wow. When you think about the whole breakdown of just everything that you just said and in the community as a whole,
Hmm.
that's you a lot of young people never think about it like that or don't even have the mindset to even want to think about it like that. So for you to be
Hmm.
somebody who's even on that mindset and thinking that way, that's amazing. And for you to have a grandfather and a father who can show you the ropes, that's even more amazing. With real estate, for people who are interested in doing real estate and don't really know how to begin or where to begin, what steps would you tell them to take first?
Well, it really just depends on where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I would just say just start cleaning up certain things. Credit is one of the easiest way to get a loan. Having some money saved up would help. Um, Sometimes you may want to partner with somebody. Um, like for example, if you are let's just say you're on Section 8, Section 8, you can get a loan to buy a home if you're on Section 8, you
Wow.
know. So, because Section 8, it helps you pay for the home. It's a housing. I forgot the name of it, but it's a housing type of thing. I forgot the name of it. So that's what
Hmm.
it's there to do, to help pay for your living expenses and whatnot. So initially, I would just say to someone who's new, especially if you're young, just clean up your credit a little bit. Get you a small $300 credit card. Keep the payments underneath 30%. So every 3 months or so, your credit will go up and your limit will go up as well. And just save up some cash. You know, and if you need a partner, don't be afraid to partner with somebody, because it means less work you would have to do, which means more gain you both can achieve together. So that's what I would recommend. Or you can do what I did, which was um, go into a different field, and draw up finances and money through that, which is how I got into the insurance. Let that
Mm.
build up for a little bit, then study real estate, study property, study the taxes, the laws, and the housing authorities, and how to achieve all these things. Study the great ones, in other words. Then when the time is right, you can put your first business or your first job on pause for 6 months or so, and go full time in real estate. You know, so,
Mm.
that's what I did. You can do it that way, or get you a full time job and do real estate part time. Just so, there's so many ways you can get involved. And it's just so easy to do. All you got to do is just do it. But initially, depending on how you start off, depending on where that individual is at, get your credit score up, which is very easy to do. You can just get like a simple credit fixer lady or somebody, or just go on YouTube and just learn how to do it yourself, which is what I did, and then just go get a loan. Just start off.
Wow, that is some very insightful information. Thank you for sharing that with us today. You spoke about in your intro that you have a clothing line as well. Can you
Hmm.
give us a little bit of insight on, what your clothing line is, what it's about?
Yes, ma'am. The name of the clothing line is called Healthy Mentality Clothing.
Hmm.
I ran with that because, well, I'm gonna just tell you how I even got involved with it, like how I came up with the name. I was actually going to start a different company.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna say the name because I don't want nobody to take it. Because it's a nice,
No,
it's a nice
understandable.
name. Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's it's a real nice name. And you could swing it in any direction.
Hmm.
Me and a friend of mine, we were gonna start up an entertainment company,
Hmm.
and we was about to do it like last. We was aiming for last summer, but
Hmm.
we've been planning for at least about 7 or 8 months, and
Mm.
it was about to jump off. Then COVID hit and all that stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, man, Then that happened, and he got sick and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I was just sitting back thinking, like what else can I do? Because I liked the name that we had. It had the word healthy in it. I'll just say that. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So and I just started thinking. Then I just started seeing other people come out with different brands and stuff like that. And I'm looking at, at one point in time I wanted to be a clothes designer. So
Hmm.
I'm looking at, the print, the label, the design, and I'm just seeing a whole lot of like, I mean, it wasn't bad designs, but it just wasn't no substance, no meaning to it. It'd be like
Hmm.
a teddy bear about to go kill somebody on a shirt. Like,
Oh
I'm
my
like, what?
gosh.
Yeah, I'm just like, yo, what's that? Like,
Wow.
or somebody would put like a ski mask, or just the ski mask only on a shirt. And I'm like,
Oh wow.
people would just be buying it. I'm just like, man, hold on,
Hmm.
man. And like I said, I always said I was gonna start doing some clothing and stuff like that. I just haven't gotten
Hmm.
to it yet. Because when I was younger, somebody stuck a needle in my brain. They killed my idea. You
Mm.
know. But good thing I had drive and passion still inside. So I said, man,
Mm.
let me come up with something. So I looked around. There wasn't really nobody out having any type of positive images, or I mean, like real positive, strong images,
Mhm.
or anything like that. So you know how to say pictures say 1,000 words.
Right.
So when you start to see positive, productive images,
Mhm.
if you're used to seeing negative and non-productive images, that could
Exactly.
possibly, yeah, that could change your way of thinking, and of course, your way of thinking will go into your atmosphere, your environment where you live. If it is negative, if you're constantly
Mhm.
seeing negative, eventually you're gonna think negative and do negative things. So I say, man,
Mhm.
let me flip that around. Let me come with something a bit more stronger and productive.
Mhm.
Then if I'm able to heal a sick mind like that, that's considered healthy for that individual. So I said,
Mhm.
okay, that's cool. Then I said, wait, we can't just have a healthy mindset. We have to have a healthy mentality. So that's how I came
Mm.
up with the name Healthy Mentality. And I had to put
Nice.
yeah, I had to put clothing on there because uh someone else had the name, but it just didn't have
Mhm.
clothing. Yeah, so I had to put clothing on there just for that. So that's how I came up with the name. And as you can see, it's just royalty images, positive, productive images, king and queen
Mhm.
status. The man got the power of the law, the staff and the rod in his hand, letting you know
Mhm.
that he's the king, the ruler, the maker, the owner, the
Mhm.
cream of the planet Earth, and God of the universe. You know,
Yes.
then the slogan on this one, it said everything about this mentality is healthy. I came up with that
Mm.
on my own. And that's just how that came about. Just something new for the people to look at, put it out there, and just see what's going to happen with it.
Wow, that is super, super dope. And the meaning behind it is just amazing. Like, it's so amazing. Like you said, we don't see a lot of positive images or even just positive sayings and words being put into the world now. So to be that small percentage that is trying to make a change in a positive way is, you know, man, like, ah, like it's really at a loss for words, because it's so deep. Like I
Right.
said, you don't see a lot of positivity now. All you see is negative, 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 and to just for you to be making a positive change, like I said, is amazing, super,
Mhm.
super amazing, and I commend you for that. Definitely commend you for that.
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate
You
you.
spoke a little bit about the insurance firm that you're a part of and that you own. We didn't dive too deep into it.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, can you give us some insight on how you got started with insurance and just wanting to do that as well?
Hmm. Well, that actually came. Somebody actually came to me, and
Mm.
they just told me. They said, "Hey, man, if you should sell insurance. I think you'd be good at
Oh, wow. Okay.
it." And that was it.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got
Hey.
started, and I was just like, you know, naturally I always been a salesman type of guy. So,
Mhm.
I was 21 at the time, and I was just like, of course I'm going to be good at it. Anything I do, I'm good at. But I didn't say
Mhm.
that to him though. I was thinking
Yeah,
that.
right, right. Stay humble. Stay humble.
But let's see, what year was that? That was 2000, I think 14, I think, when he said that to me.
Mhm.
Then it might have been 15. I don't know. Well, whatever year it was one of them 2 years.
Okay.
And at that time I was a garbage man.
Oh,
I
wow.
yeah, I was a garbage man. And I just didn't like that job. The job was okay.
Mhm.
I'm not going to it's not a bad job.
Mhm.
It just wasn't what I was born to do, and I knew that.
Mhm. Right.
And I knew that. So, this guy, he told me that about within a year. He told me that about maybe about three more times.
Mm.
Then one of those times he was just like, "Hey man, if you want to, if you get into business, I'll show you how to make $100,000 your first year." I was just like,
Wow.
"What?" I was like, "Hold on." So look at this, man. One day, I was just like, I'm gonna go ahead and get involved. And I was kind of moving a little. I wasn't moving slow, but I just wasn't moving fast enough. I would just say that.
Mhm.
Then one day they called me into their office and just fired me on the spot.
Wow.
So, you know, I wasn't tripping. I was like, "Thank you." You know what I mean? I was like,
Right.
thank you, so I took
Release.
yeah, exactly. I was like, ooh, cool, I'm good. But I
Mhm.
had some money saved up. I just relaxed. Um, because being a garbage man, it after a while, and I did it for five full years.
Mhm.
It has, wear and tear on your body.
Mhm.
So I kind of relaxed and I went and got my barber license. Um, got my barber license. Then I studied for the insurance test, passed that. Then was just rolling.
Mhm.
I went on and did that and kept it moving. And that was I didn't really like get it going until like 2017, I think.
Okay.
That's when I really like got it going. I started, making the amount of money the guy said I was gonna make.
Mhm.
And then some. So yeah, that's how that happened. And I mean, and initially, I really did it initially because I knew what I really wanted to do. I really wanted to own land.
Mhm.
That's what I really wanted to start gardening, gardening. I think I said that right. Want to
Mhm.
do that, not really deal with the animals and the farm and all that stuff, but the other things. And
Mhm.
I needed an income coming in strong enough to get the land and fertilize it and the machines and stuff like that. So, if dude talking about, hey, look, you're gonna make $100,000 a year. That's about 8, 9 thousand a month. And
Mhm.
my overhead was like $1,600 at that time. It
Wow.
wasn't high, yeah, it wasn't high. It was just me and I had like a little 2-year-old daughter at that time, I think, 2 or 3 years old.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, why not? Then
Mhm.
on top of that, it comes with lifetime renewals as well.
Mhm.
So every month, you get a check every month, and that was gonna pay for the home where I live at and whatever else expenses I need, and then some, which will also
Mhm.
free me up to go do other things. So that's how I got into. That's part of the reason why how I got into real estate and eventually trying to get into land and things like that. That's what I did. I
Mm.
got involved with that insurance brokerage. That's what it's called, and I did
Mhm.
that up until this time, and that's what pretty much freed me up.
Wow. With the way that you did your journey from starting with doing insurance to real estate to now a clothing entrepreneur, mm, someone who is trying to figure out which way to go and what direction to go in as far as getting that, financial freedom, what steps or what advice would you give them to take?
As far as for them to achieve it, I would just say just really just sit back and just see what you can do. The
Mhm.
easiest. I'll put it to you like this. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He said, whatever you do the easiest and enjoy the most, more than likely you're born to do that.
Mm.
More than likely.
Mhm.
So for me, I knew like since I was 5 and 6 years old, I ain't gonna lie, I was born to be a boss, to run stuff.
Okay. Yes.
I, I ain't gonna front. I knew it when I was like 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. I knew it
Mhm.
because I always think of the big ideas and I'll say this is how I'm gonna do it.
Mhm.
It all revolved around businesses. Like I used
Mhm.
to tell my mother and stuff, like, I want to be a chef. I want to be a chef in my own restaurant.
Mm.
I want to own the restaurant. And I just started coming up with ideas and stuff like that. But like I
Mhm.
wasn't really around my dad early. I was around him, but he just lived in a different state. So I would come see
Okay.
him yeah, I would just come see him in the summertime. It wasn't like he wasn't there.
Mhm.
Uh, so I would just say this. My advice is either just go ahead and jump right into what you're trying to do, or if what you're trying to do is really big, just get something that's going to sustain you and
Mm.
build you up until you're ready to go on and take care of that big challenge that you want. Let me give you
Mhm.
an example. So let's just say you work in a full-time job and you want to go into financial freedom and things like that.
Mhm.
So go ahead and start you up that part-time business. Whatever business it is, just make it part-time.
Mm.
Then keep at it with the part-time business until that part-time business income wise equals the same income of your full-time job, and you're able to
Mhm.
maintain that for 3 to 6 months. Then
Mm.
whenever you're able to do that, quit the full-time job. When you quit the full-time job, you make your part-time business a full-time business, because if not, eventually the job will take it will cut into your part-time business income. And when you
Mhm.
do that, that's how you become your own boss within 1 year, maybe. But that's what you call the Honorable Minister Farrakhan called that Project Still Away.
Mm.
That's how you steal away your back freedom. I mean your freedom back. I said it backwards.
Mhm.
So that's a way. But like I said, I would just say just figure it out, whatever it is, real estate, nursing homes, hospitals,
Mhm.
um, lawyer firm, whatever it is. Say this, this is what I'm gonna do. Then plan out how you're gonna do it. I was
Mhm.
listening to Grant Cardone one time. He's like a big time real estate agent. I mean, not agent, but owner. And he was
Mhm.
talking to this guy from Persia, which is Iranian.
Mhm.
And he said something that was so simple, but it just sounded so fascinating to me. He was giving him some advice. He said, go ahead and plan out a $2 million deal.
Mm.
And I was just like, I'm like, damn it, is that simple?
Right.
Just sit
Right.
there and this is how I'm gonna make $2 million right here. I'm gonna write it down.
Uh,
You know what I mean? I'm just like, man, that was deep right there. It was so simple, but when I thought about it, I was just like, okay, that's all that it takes. So it's just the
mhm.
same advice. Sit there and just write it out.
Mm.
I did it for like a year straight, almost every single day. The night before, I planned
Wow.
my day out.
Mhm.
I said, I'm gonna go ahead and make this much money. Let me tell you a true story. One time, it was August of 2017.
Mhm.
I so that's 5 months left in that year. Now I'm new into the insurance business, brand spanking new, brand new. I told
Okay.
myself, I said, look, by December 31st, I'm gonna make $50,000. Mind you, I ain't had a job all year.
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, and a little bit of the previous year too.
mhm.
So I said, all right, cool, boom. I did what it took. By December 31st, I got the taxes back and everything. I totaled out at $60,000. But from that actual insurance Medicare business, that which is the initial one, that
Mhm.
that was like 49,000, whatever, other 850, whatever that number was.
Mhm.
And that's when I knew right then and there, like, yo, if I really just get focused and plan this stuff out, I could make anything happen. Yeah.
Wow. That is an inspirational story. Very, very inspirational. Wow. And you literally made a plan and stuck to that plan. Y'all, look, listen, everybody.
And and
Come on.
and real quick, I did that with being a father, an active
Mm-hmm.
father weekly,
Mm-hmm.
um, running a religious organization and going
Mm-hmm.
to every single meeting Mondays, Fridays, no, Mondays at 7:30, Wednesdays at 7:30, Fridays at 7:30, and Sundays at 11 o'clock, and getting there
Mm-hmm.
earlier to open the building up and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that, and also it was one more thing. Oh, and community work as well. As far as
Wow.
going out to the community at least at the minimum 3 times a week for an hour,
Mm-hmm.
2 hours or something. Maintaining all that and hitting those numbers,
Right.
so it can get done.
Well, listen, everybody. If y'all don't have y'all pen and paper out and y'all are not jotting this stuff down, I don't know what to tell y'all because Brother Mark is giving some amazing, amazing insight and amazing knowledge on just how to get started in multiple different businesses and make them successful with just a little bit of planning and actually sticking to every single thing that you're saying. So yeah, y'all, I'm telling y'all, listening, you seem like a very, very, very insightful young man. I have a really big feeling that you read a lot. You laugh. I feel like I'm right. So, with that being said, what are your top three books that have just helped you gain the knowledge that you have now, and that you can go back and dive into those books a little bit deeper and gain more knowledge?
Hmm. Yeah, to be honest, I smile because I really don't read that much, to be honest.
Really? Oh, what's wrong?
You know, what I do, I think a lot. That's what I do.
Mm, mhm,
I think a lot. Then if I'm unsure, I go look for what I'm thinking about.
mhm,
You know, um, what I did early on with the Nation of Islam in 2012, January 2012. There's a lecture called "Going Ham: The Truth About Pork."
mhm.
It's on YouTube. It's still on there. That's the first lecture I ever watched in my whole entire life. From that from that day on, I said, "Yeah, this I found what I'm looking for. Now I need to keep on grinding it out."
Mhm.
So from that day, January 2012 to maybe the middle of the summer of 2013, I've watched probably about 150 to maybe 200 different lectures in that
Wow.
in that time period.
Mhm.
Um, and that's with going to Sunday meetings as well. It was just
Mhm.
Sunday meetings at that time. Um, and what I did during that time, I read this book called Message to the Black Man,
Mhm.
Message to the Black Man in America, by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that right there, that it was pretty much like open heart surgery.
Mhm.
You know, that right there gave the understanding, the wisdom, the knowledge, the how to, the what to, and the why,
Mhm.
you know, of my existence.
Mhm.
It gave me purpose. You know, your mom used to always tell you, baby, you need to go find your purpose. You,
Right.
you need to go. You need to go find who you are. Yeah, my mom used to tell
Right.
me that. I mean, yeah, my mom used to tell me this. I really meant to say this. You need to go find yourself. That's what it was.
Yes. Yes.
I used to look at her like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Right.
But once I got into that, I think what she meant, which I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure she did, to find your purpose in life.
Mhm.
You know, that book right there, and How to Eat to Live, book one was the first one that I read because
Mhm.
I used to want to be a doctor and I still do. So
Mhm.
the nutritional side was very interesting to me. So I
Mhm.
read that book first and follow those instructions to the T as far as 1 meal a day, eliminating all gas, starch, like all the stuff Dr. Sebi be talking about now.
Mhm.
It was I
Right.
did all that perfectly.
Wow.
Um, things like that. But once I did that, and I knew that my way of thinking, not to kind of toot my horn, but I mean, when you know you're
Mhm.
right about something, you just know you're right about it.
Yeah, that intuition.
Yeah, bottom line, you know what I mean. After that, I knew for a fact that it was okay for me to think I'm right and know I'm right about something,
Mhm.
but then to move out on it. Because after
Mm.
watching all those lectures of the Minister
Mhm.
Farrakhan, you know, and I would just kind of go ask other people about them,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of positive feedback, but sometimes people just weren't used to seeing a confident black man like that,
Mhm.
being correct, being able to explain himself correctly and defend himself correctly, and him in a whole group of millions of people all at the same time. So
Mhm.
once I seen that, I knew, okay, it's okay for me to think the way that I've always thought. 'Cause people would say I'm just arrogant. It's not that. I
Mhm.
just know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Straight up, just call it like it is. You
Right.
know. And so once that happened, I said, okay, let me go ahead and just move forward.
Mhm.
So as far as reading books, I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably only read maybe 2 books fully,
Oh
you know,
wow.
and that was Message to the Black Man in America,
Hmm.
How to Eat to Live, and maybe like some old crazy like sex book from back in the day.
Okay. Okay.
so so that was probably about it. You know, somebody on Twitter asked the minister one time, they asked him, "What books do you read?"
Hmm.
And he said that I read the books that the messenger wrote,
Hmm.
the scriptures that he pointed out, and a chapter or two of other books if it's pertaining to my lecture.
Hmm.
So that's what I do. So I said that's why I said I think a lot.
Hmm.
And if I'm unsure, I go look for what I'm thinking about
Hmm.
to confirm it or not.
Wow. That's that's so surprising, that you do not read, as much. Like I said, your insight and your knowledge on a lot of things and just the way that you think, a lot of people say, read, that's where you get all your knowledge from, stuff like that. So
That is true though. That
yeah.
and I want to say this real quick. That is true, and
Mm-hmm.
at times it for myself it's
Mm-hmm.
at times it has been a disadvantage,
Mm-hmm.
because after a while you'll feel like you wish you was further along.
Mm, okay.
So it can be a disadvantage. However, what I just said, that's really good if you do one thing all the time.
Mm, okay.
You know what I mean? So like for
Mm-hmm.
example, like if I'm teaching, every week, let's just say I'm a full-time preacher,
Okay.
it's not really a need a real a deep it's not really a need for me to study real estate full time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really needed. It's not a need for me to just go deep into other subjects, like let's just say like Zionism or rabbis and stuff like that. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm normally teaching on, Christianity, Jesus in the Bible or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go get other subjects that's pertaining to what I'm doing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So me doing that, it it was beneficial for what I was doing, which
Mm-hmm.
is defending the Nation of Islam. This ain't Malcolm X and all this other little talk and this white
Mm-hmm.
man's the devil. It was great for that. I got great at that, defending the
Mm-hmm.
teachings and on the offense as well, teaching it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But where I slightly suffered that was that on other subjects where it was kind of common, where you might have
Mm-hmm.
thought that you would think somebody should know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be kind of limited on that information, but I would know something about it because I heard somebody else teach on it.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I'm doing, since we got all this extra access free time,
Right. Thanks to
you
COVID.
know, you know, I'm getting more into the studies,
Mm-hmm.
um, more into reading, and I'm just digging deeper because
Mm-hmm.
now's the time where I mean we are looking at the same thing, we see the same TV, the same YouTube videos or whatever.
Right.
You know, now is the time where we really need to be prepared mentally and physically
Mm-hmm.
for whatever's going to happen.
Right. Exactly.
Whether it's going to be a civil war, whether it's going to be a World War III, which it will be soon, a World War III, or
Mm-hmm.
whether we're still in the battles of the mind. The
Right.
Bible says that there's going to be wars and rumors of wars.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a rumor of a war going on right now with America and Iraq, America and Iran, America and Russia, America and China. Those are rumors of wars.
Mm-hmm.
But it also said that they're going to be wars, meaning more than one. Then it said
Mm-hmm.
rumors of wars. So if there's wars going on, the black and white conflict, that's a war. The battle of the
Right.
mind, that's a war.
Right.
Nutritional diet, being obese, being slim,
Mm-hmm.
veganism, vegetarian, those are considered wars.
Right. Exactly. No, seriously.
So it's just like, okay, how can I be the most prepared
Mm-hmm.
right here, right now? So yeah, you got it. I mean, read another book I would suggest people to read. There's a book out called, matter of fact, two books. There's a book, one book is called The Secret Relationships Between Blacks and Jews.
Mm.
That book right there's three different volumes to that book. But the first
Mhm.
one is fine. That's going into the history of Jewish scholars with their own studies,
Mhm.
stating how Jews took, I'll just say, took over the whole world. How they
Mhm.
started slavery, how they funded slavery, how how they sold the slaves into slavery, where they got them
Mhm.
from. Certain prominent figures like Christopher Columbus was a Jewish person. It was
Mhm.
just he just hid it underneath the Catholic identity or Christian identity and
Mhm.
things like that. So it's really exposing the world, and it'll bring your mind into a more promising present right now, so you'll know how to function. If you
Mhm.
understand your past, you'll definitely understand your present. If you understand your
Mm.
present, you most definitely gonna understand your future. So if you
Right.
don't, so if you, and also to go along with that, if you don't know what was, then you don't know, then you will not know what is. If you don't know
Mhm.
what is, then you will definitely not know what is to come.
Mhm.
So that, and there's another book called by Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Now, Dr. Wesley's like a scientist.
Mm.
He's a scientist, but oh, here we go, right here. Here. Understanding understanding the assault on the black man, black manhood, and black masculinity.
Mm.
I'm gonna read it again. Understanding the assault on the black man, black manhood, and black masculinity. Dr. Wesley's going into the
Whew.
he's going he's going into the scientific buildup
Mhm.
on how people got into the condition that they're in right now. That's
Mhm.
what he's breaking down right there. The
Mhm.
PhD in it. He has a PhD in Islam, but that was just because they I think he said they paid him to do that. So
Mm.
he went on and just, to the university, I think Michigan, I think it was.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's breaking down the thinking, the behaviors, what they put in the food, the water, how they test things out on people,
Mhm.
going into the tryptophan and serotonin levels of the mind. How they test out is when they want a certain reaction out of us, they'll test it on certain animals first, before they test it out on us to see what kind of reaction we would get out of it. And he's breaking it down, you know.
Wow.
Mhm. I
That.
said I said all that to say,
Wow.
but look though, I said all that just to say, because I heard you say I don't read that much, and I didn't want the message to be out like, yeah, dang, he don't really read a
Mhm.
whole lot,
Mhm.
there was a disadvantage of me doing that, and
Mhm.
that's why I went on and told you that. That's why, like, now I was just like, yo, I got 2021 is the time to dig. It's time to dig deeper for everybody,
Right.
including me. So yeah, that's why I'm going harder now with everything: finances, adulthood, my studies, and all that stuff. I'm about to go
Mhm.
harder. I'm about to, if it's the grace of God, I'm gonna probably go take maybe about a 2 week vacation, maybe 3 weeks, and just go to
Nice.
like Miami something and just exercise, read, enjoy
Mhm.
myself, just to get fully back on track. That's my
Mhm.
plan. I've been saying I'm gonna do that for some years. I just never got to it.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Wow. Just hearing the titles of those books and hearing the breakdown of those books, like I'm at a loss for words. And I mean, okay, so with the particular books that you just named off, I know the last book you named off, it had a lot of viewpoints towards the black man. Is that a book that a female can read as well to just get understanding on how the black man has been treated through the years?
Of course, she'll get understanding of how she's been mistreated too, or treated.
Mm. Mhm.
Because a lot of times when people be like, "Oh, the black man," they're also talking about the black woman as well. I heard the minister
Mhm.
say this. We're talking about the black woman as well, because inside the man is the man and the woman.
Mhm.
you know. So, but they just say black man just to kind of put it all together as a whole.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, most definitely, the sisters can get in tune with the book, and get some understanding, some reading as well. Are you familiar with Vicky Dillard?
No, I am not.
Okay. Well, she quotes from that book all the time. That yeah, that's
Okay.
the reason why I brought her up. Yeah, she quotes from it all the time. She be teaching on YouTube every 2 days.
Wow. Well, I would definitely have to look into her and see what she's about for sure, because being a student is always important.
Hmm.
Wanting to learn and just having the ability to learn is important as a whole. And I feel that, us as a community, we should take full advantage of that,
Hmm.
especially in these times that is going on now. Speaking of being a student and being someone who, if you don't know the knowledge, you go and you look it up. How important is it, in your opinion, for individuals who are not knowledgeable in certain areas to go and look things up?
Well, it's highly important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if you don't know, then how will you ever understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the Bible it says, "And thou art gettings, get understandings."
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you may need to ask who, sometimes you may need to ask what, sometimes you may need to ask where, sometimes you may
Mm-hmm.
need to ask when. But in order for you to get full and complete understanding, you must ask why.
Mm-hmm.
So if you asking why, and the why is normally on the internet, since that's the new teacher now.
Right.
You know, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, you can get pretty far with things like that. I was listening to a song with Nipsey Hussle
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago, and he was like, he said I dropped out of high school, started to teach myself, and I was just thinking about that, like now, like hey, like you can really do that.
Mm-hmm. No, seriously.
You know, but like when I was thinking, I'm just thinking like, dang, that was deep, like. Because of
Yeah.
course, when you hear him speak now, well, when he was alive,
Right.
and his brother spoke about him, how he was building computer, he built the computers, how he's trying to start a tech school, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And it's just like, hey, man, because in high school I was gonna drop out, you
Wow.
know, and I was just like, of course, I was thinking I could have done it. It been
Right.
straight, it been good,
Right. Right. No.
but
Seriously.
that was so long ago, So I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, I guess everything's good now. But yeah, that just shows right there. I'm just thinking about right now. Yeah, most definitely. Individuals should always go seek the final answer, and seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. Because once you have it, that's considered the energy that you
Mm-hmm.
transfer over to somebody whenever you go back to the earth and return to God.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the energy. It's just like when you know the truth about something,
Mm-hmm.
how you feel relaxed, and sometimes you feel empowered.
Right.
That's considered at a certain type of frequency level. It's really an electric current, but we just call it energy.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine if you just drop something heavy on the information someone needed.
Mm-hmm.
You're like 90, but you're talking to somebody like 20. Then like a
Mm-hmm.
year later you passed away. That 20-year old's gonna be so grateful that you told them that, because
Right.
you just gave them some game 60 years ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like that's how my grandfather was 98 when he passed away last year.
Wow.
He was, I think he's 70 years older than me. I think so. Yeah, he was
Wow.
about 7. Yeah, so I'm getting the game from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
Right.
60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, teens, and about to hit 2020. He remembered
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. He ain't had no memory problem.
Wow,
You
that's
know.
amazing.
Yeah, he used to tell me a lot. Him and Muhammad Ali was best friends and all that. Not best friends, but they were just good
Wow.
friends. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's just very beneficial. Yeah, most definitely tell them to go look it up, research it,
Hmm.
just and enjoy it.
Mm. That's
Mhm.
that like wow. That's first of all, rest in peace, rest in love to the great Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace
Mhm.
and rest in love to your grandfather.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, two very insightful individuals, especially I can just tell by hearing you speak. Your grandfather was very, very insightful and knowledgeable. Um, and just from growing up in this era and hearing Nipsey Hussle, very insightful, very knowledgeable. So big shout outs to them. Speaking on all of the things that you've done and that you have going on now, what would you say is your inspiration to just keep going?
Oh, well, it's two of them.
Hmm.
The first one is that um I knew that I was one of those ones who, if you ever heard somebody say like how urban renewal came and bought the land up from the people, uh, like they came and took the land from the slaves and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, I was one of those ones. If that never happened, me and my family would be rich as crazy,
Hmm.
extremely wealthy.
Hmm.
Um, so back in like the late 1800s, I'm gonna give you the short version. Basically, my great times four grandfather had seven sons, and he
Hmm.
gave all them some land whenever he died.
Hmm.
Um, then later on, they sold the land to some Caucasians, and come to find out the land had oil underneath it. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
So they that happened, and they only sold it because I mean, they didn't. I don't think that they was all that educated.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, my great grandfather, he had properties and stuff like that, and my grandfather had some houses. My
Hmm.
father's self-employed, been self-employed since 1982. Um, then I looked at it as like, okay, I'm young enough to go ahead and I'm able to get all those things back,
Hmm.
or at least some of it, half of it,
Hmm.
then whenever I pass on, I can go ahead and pass the wealth down that I developed down to my children. Therefore, the next generations
Hmm.
will be straight. So,
Hmm.
I'm putting in all the work now. So my children and my children's children and so forth and so forth, all them will be fine. And we will all be kings and queens
Hmm.
coming from this bloodline. you
Hmm.
know then on top of that, it's being an example. The second reason is being an example for the community, for everybody else who wants to do
Hmm.
the same thing or have a desire to do the same thing.
Hmm.
So if you're going to somebody and you're talking to somebody, trying to uplift them and encourage them to do better or do things in general, or if they're into gangs and whatnot, yeah, you can tell them put the guns down, but what else you going to give them in exchange?
Right.
You can give them knowledge, but like, do you have somewhere where they can apply that knowledge at?
Hmm.
It's things like that. So that's why I keep on going in the direction that I am in. And of course, it gets tiring and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Sometimes I be wanting to quit and just say the hell with it. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, the mission is gonna keep going on regardless.
Hmm.
And my thing is that somebody's gonna get the credit. Why not me?
Mm.
That's just how I look at it. Somebody's gonna get the big name. Why not me?
Hey, I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
I definitely love it. Confident attitude is very, very important, and
Hmm.
you definitely have that. I'm not gonna say arrogant. I'm gonna say confident.
Thank you.
um, no problem. No problem. You've spoken about Islam a lot in this interview and just like the Islamic culture as a whole. What got you into wanting to know about that particular culture and how did you get into that culture?
Well, my father's was a member of the Nation of Islam since 1997. Um,
Okay.
so that was my first introduction to it. But
Mhm.
just like everybody else, I mean, I was young. I wasn't really interested like that,
Mhm.
or really at all, because you got sports, then you got
Right.
girls and other stuff, you know.
Right.
But what it was two things that sparked that kept my interest. The
Mhm.
first thing was that, like, whenever my dad would tell me something,
Mhm.
um, I would see it happen a couple years later.
Mm.
So it just kind of had me thinking, like, hold on, maybe this guy, maybe he is right. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But one day when I was in third grade, I had a teacher named Miss Melanowski,
Mhm.
and we was talking about slavery. Well, they was talking
Mhm.
about it. I was just listening,
Mhm.
and she said something. Then I asked her. I said, "You mean to tell me this is what I asked the teacher? I was 8 years old. You mean to tell me that they kidnapped us from Africa, brought us over here, they killed us and raped us, then taught us religion?" She
Mm.
was just like, she said this, and I quote, "Yes, they might have killed some of us and raped some of us, but that's just how it was at that time." So
Mm.
I said, hold on for a second.
Mm. You see my face? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
said, hold on for a second. If somebody, and I'm thinking this at
Mhm.
8 years old, if somebody did that stuff right now,
Right.
the same exact thing, how could I trust that person?
Right.
Especially if they're gonna teach me about God. I don't care
Mhm.
if they was telling the truth or not. I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. Then
Right.
on top of that, if we was in Africa right now, we would all be Muslims.
Mm.
So I said to myself, right after that, I said, something's going on, and I don't know what it is, but I'm
Mhm.
gonna find out one day.
Mhm.
Then I just left it alone. Then
Mm.
some years went by, a bunch of years went by,
Mhm.
and like I said, I would just see some stuff. My dad say he'll say it, then I'll see it like 2 years later. I'm like, damn man, I'm like, that's crazy how you said that.
Mhm.
Then one day, man, he just came in my room and he did the same old thing. Hey, Mark, today somebody speaking today. You should check them out.
Mhm.
Like, man, I ain't about to listen to you,
Right.
man. But yeah, but for some reason I couldn't go back to sleep that day. It was on
Mm.
a Sunday morning. I came in at like 6:30 in the morning, something like that. I was
Mhm.
a partier. I was one of those club hoppers.
Okay.
Yeah. So after hours, that was my thing.
Right.
So I just popped I pulled it up online on
Mhm.
NOI.org, and it was that lecture I was telling you about, the Going Him the Truth About lecture, Going Him the Truth About Pork. And
Mhm.
I was watching it, and I'm listening. I'm like, damn, this dude, he already he's teaching.
Mhm.
I'm listening again. I kept on listening and listening, listening. I'm just like, man. So I called my pops. I said, you are they like that every week? I mean, I'm
Mhm.
talking about like and this is me. I've always been a fan. Like, I grew up on the East Coast,
Mhm.
so when you in New York, Massachusetts, Jersey, Philly, up in that area, you know, the talking is very aggressive. Like
Mhm.
like
Yes.
arguing is a normal thing. Being
Mhm.
being articulately correct is the way to be. That's just how
Mhm.
it is. You
Mhm.
know. So me coming from that, and the teachers are like that too in schools. Me coming
Mhm.
from that, I'm listening to this guy teach, and he's proven himself correct from all angles.
Mhm.
So me growing up, we kind of argue for fun, kind of,
Mhm.
sort of, pretty much. Like, you be talking, and I'll respond back with, but what about this? You ain't say nothing about
Mhm.
this. You know how it
Right.
be. So yeah,
Right.
but nah, but dude was covering all that, and he kept saying in that lecture, today's the day I'm going to get rid of all your excuses.
Mm.
So he just kept on going, and I've always been a fan of confident, well-rounded, strong talking people, white or black. It don't
Mhm.
matter who you are. You
Mhm.
know, I've always been a fan of that because that's like a reflection how I always wanted to be growing
Mhm.
up. So after that, I called my dad. I said, "Damn, man, I checked that lecture out that you have
Mhm.
that you told me about, man. Are they like that every week?" He said, "Yeah, every
Mhm.
week." I said, "I'm in there next week." And from that day forth, I just kept on going.
Wow,
I just kept
that's
on going.
awesome.
And also, what made me stay was that once I heard the minister speak,
Mhm.
you know, I said to myself, I said, "Man, that's how I always thought of myself being
Mhm.
growing up. You know, articulate, strong talking, confident, military, uh, loving, caring, passionate, uplifted, all that
Mhm.
stuff. I used to practice it. I still do to this
Mhm.
day. I used to practice my speech in the mirror, all that stuff. You know.
Mhm. I can tell. I can definitely tell. That's why I'm just smiling, just like, yep. Can definitely tell.
So yeah, once I seen him in action several times, I said, okay,
Mhm.
this is something I could see myself growing in. You
Mhm.
know, I could see myself growing in. So I stayed there. You know, I
Mhm.
stayed there until it was just time for me to go into other things.
Mhm.
But of course, when you're nation building, what else can you go into?
Mhm.
Lead the moms, where am I gonna go? To the strip club? Really don't have that
Yeah.
many options. You know, this ain't
Right.
Europe and Asia and Africa. You know, we don't have.
Mhm.
There's one country over here. They got like
Right.
they got like 50 in one continent.
Right.
So they
Exactly.
so there really ain't nowhere to go at. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I stayed and just kept it
Mm.
going.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
Very interesting. For anyone who is trying to figure out what direction to go in as far as with their particular religion, and they may be thinking about diving a little bit into the Islamic culture, what advice would you give them about starting?
Well, the first thing you can do, and you can never go wrong with, is just to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, you can ask questions, but if you want to do your own research, I would say go to what's the name of the website? Uh, finalcallstore.noy.org and just order the books and just read it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and don't tell nobody what you went to, because you know, for some reason, you tell somebody you went to Islam, all of a sudden they become an expert at Islam. All of a sudden, and you be like, I mean, how you know all that?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I've experienced it all. Uh,
Wow.
but yeah, most definitely, just ask questions. Ask every
Mm-hmm.
single question that you could think about. Then just go get the books and just read it upon yourself. It's that simple, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have more questions after you're reading the book or while you're reading, just ask some more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said earlier, thou all gettings get understandings.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're reading, you know, you're gonna ask some questions because it's new to you.
Right.
So just go seek that understanding, and you'll find your answer there.
All right. So everybody ask questions. Ask
Most
questions.
definitely, most definitely.
Um, we asked you earlier, what is your inspiration? Now we want to know who is your inspiration to keep going.
Ooh, ooh, man. When you say keep going, like what exactly? What do you mean? Keep going to what?
Just in your businesses and everything that you have going on in life, just overall.
Mm, who's my inspiration? Man, I think really, you know, my true inspiration really is just to it's really just of course my daughter, of course the Honorable
Mhm.
Miss Luz Farrakhan, but my true inspiration is to really see humanity as a whole um, overcome this difficult time.
Mm,
That's really that's really what I would like to see. And I
mhm,
always wanted to be one of those outlets where I wanted to have my hand in on helping that happen.
mhm,
Because I truly, truly, truly believe, truly, that Black people in America
mhm,
will overcome, what was miseducation, not having the
mhm.
knowledge of self. I truly believe that they will come out of that to this day, and I know they will.
Definitely, definitely.
Just like the minister said, he said, if the word don't get you, then the world gonna get you. And right now, we in the phase that the world is gonna is waking the people up.
Mhm,
You know what I mean? So, like I said earlier, we look at the same thing: the police violence, the police brutality,
mhm,
the crooked politicians, all that stuff's going on right now. And a blessing that's inside of COVID is that, yeah, that all of us is in the house, and now we have more time to view these things.
mhm,
So when we come out of this, us as a people, yeah, we're gonna have so many differences. Yeah, we still may be a little messed up in the head. That's in every athletic background.
mhm,
Um, but what's gonna strengthen is that our common goal is to overcome all this stuff,
mhm,
overcome financial literacy,
mhm,
overcome injustice in police form, overcome not having our own businesses, our own community, and our own place to live in peace, harmony, and happiness,
mhm,
regardless. So just watch. If we ever open back up, it's going to be a lot easier to talk to people in. I mean, anywhere, any place in this continent. It's going to be a
mhm.
lot easier to talk to them because that topic is going to be so spread out now. Because we had a year and probably going to go into another year of just
Yeah.
viewing all this stuff going over and over again,
Mhm.
along with the words, because the words have been here for so long. Now it's time for those words to settle and let the
Mhm,
world do what it's supposed to do. So yeah, that's really my inspiration. Just to really, besides the minister, my family, my daughter, besides the normal things, it's really
mhm,
just to see us as a whole to make progress and overcome things.
mm,
Especially where I live at. In
mhm.
Louisville, Kentucky. So yeah, that's really my real inspiration.
Nice. And you stated, we will overcome all of this. That is very true. We will. We just have to believe it and conquer for sure. We will definitely get through all of this and come out
Hmm.
stronger.
Yeah,
We
most definitely.
definitely will. Well, everyone, we are coming up on our last two questions of the evening. And with that being said, Brother Mark, if you could give one piece of advice to someone who is interested in getting into the real estate industry, insurance firm industry, clothing business, or just overall advice in life, what would that one piece of advice be?
Let's see. Just one thing in general. Um, to be honest, what I would do is to be connected to a source. It's like a
Mm,
generator,
mhm,
whether it's a mentor, whether it's scriptures, God, religion, you know. Um, I would recommend that because, like I said, when you run into that wall, you're gonna want to quit because it won't be as easy as you think it is.
mhm,
So I would recommend just stay in that course, and that's how
mhm,
you stay balanced. That's how you stay balanced. Um, and that's what I did. So
mhm,
that study, read, research, then apply.
mhm,
As simple as that.
mhm. That is some great advice.
Hmm.
Get to research. Be connected to the research. Yes, definitely. For anyone who does not know where to find you on social media, where can everyone find you?
You can on Instagram. My name is Mark Muhammad Jr.
Hmm.
That's it. Last name is Muh. Mammad, of course, Junior. Uh, Facebook, Brother Mark Muhammad Jr. That's primarily where I'm at, just on
Mhm.
those two. Um, that's pretty much just about it.
Oh, nice. Everyone, please, please, please make sure you guys go and get connected with Brother Mark. Like we stated earlier on in this interview, he is very insightful, very, very, very knowledgeable on a lot of things. And I definitely feel that, for anyone who is looking for just that insight on life, on, in specifics, real estate, law firm, or closing, he can definitely get you pointed in the right direction and help you in more ways than one. So, guys, make sure you definitely, definitely get connected with him. Well, Brother Mark, thank you so much for coming on the Glow Talk today. It was an honor having you. Just I gained so much knowledge by just sitting here listening to you speak, and I definitely hope that everyone out there watching got a lot of insight as well. And we hope you had a great time on here today. And everyone watching, hope you guys enjoyed the interview today. With that being said, this is the end of the interview, and we will see you guys next episode on the Glow Talk. Bye.
See you later.